Oh, I forgot to ask you. Do you think it was because of the waxing gibbous or the halftime performance from Jack Harlow that caused this loss?
I think it was a combination of a bunch of stuff. I think so much.
I want to place it on the waxing gibbous.
That's the coward's way out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast presented by the World of Football. I'm your host, Kyle Sutherland, and I am joined by my co-host and brother-in-law, Adam Snow. Adam, how are you doing after that amazingly depressing Thanksgiving game by the Detroit Lions?
Well, what does that make it? That's 8 straight Thanksgiving losses or 7? I've lost count. It sucks.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and I don't want to put the blame on the wax and gibbous. I know you want to. I know a lot of people want to, but it was just bad play. A lot of bad decisions during the game. Just a lot of stuff that they got to clean up if they want to be considered one of the best teams in the league. Like, I don't know. I'm sure we'll get there. I'm sure you got a lot of problems too. But since the game, I have not really been allowed to let out all my frustration. Like, I'm still kind of pent up about yesterday's loss. I just haven't been able to, I don't know, vent it. So we'll see how today's therapy session goes.
Yep. The only thing I'm looking forward to is Michigan tomorrow beating Ohio State. So let's
see now. Everything's trending in a bad direction right now. So don't even get your hopes up.
Well, I gotta have someone save the day.
Ain't gonna be Jim Harbaugh.
Nope, he'll be sitting back watching the game from the hotel room with a beer in his hand. Okay, let's move on here. On today's show, we're going to go over the Lions' Week 12 loss against the Green Bay Packers and look ahead to their Week 13 game against the Saints. And I got a bunch of cats around me. But first, we want to thank you for checking out our podcast, whether that's on the YouTube channel or on your podcast platform of choice. You can find the World of Football and its many offerings on multiple social media platforms. Just check down in the description. We also have timestamps if you would like to jump around to the various topics that we discuss. So now let's get into this loss against the Packers. So we had the Lions 22, Packers 29. As you can tell, the Packers scored 20 points in the first quarter against the Lions. First drive, picture perfect by the Packers. Same as last week with the Bears, picture perfect on their first drive, scoring a touchdown. So that didn't help. And then Lions answered back with a touchdown themselves. Then Packers answered with another touchdown. And then the Lions had a fumble, recovered for a touchdown. So, yeah, that first half was pretty rough.
Just that first quarter, absolute insanity that 20 of their 29 points came in the first quarter. So I know a lot of people are going to want to dog on the defense. Even I want to dog on our defense. But you don't 20 points in the first quarter and then only 9 the other 3. The offense has got to produce, and a lot of this is going to go on Dan Campbell for, what were they, 0-5 on fourth downs? Like, that's the other side of the coin. We were living on the other side where we were like 4 or 5, and now we're feeling the other side of it.
Yeah, I think the other teams are really doing some film study now on these fourth down trick plays, and I think it's getting to the point where enough is enough. You either kick the dang field goal or punt it. We don't need to be doing anything stupid anymore. Like, we need to start winning games again.
I get it. Look, I get Dan Campbell's rationale. There's certain situations where I definitely would have, like, that fake punt was probably one of the worst decisions, or at least how they executed it. Like, you ran it. Like, you had to get 7 yards. Like, if you're going to pull a fake punt, why not, we know Jack Fox can throw it. Like, why not have Jack Fox just throw it right there? Like, especially that deep in your own territory, the risk. I don't know. I wouldn't have pulled the trigger on that one. I think, but they got to convert. They got to come up with plays that get them past third down. I'm tired of this. Well, they're playing for 2 downs here, like on second down. They were playing for, well, if we don't get the third down, we're gonna get the fourth down. Like we're gonna go for it no matter what. Like I don't know. It's easy to sit here and criticize coaching when they lose, and it's easy to forgive a lot of stuff when they win. So I don't know. I just think Dan Campbell, there was a couple opportunities. You kick a couple of those field goals instead of going for it. That's 6 points going in the other direction. Like, put you a little closer. You make that extra point that you missed for some reason. Like, that's another point lost. Like, I don't know. Just overall, this team played sloppy yesterday. No, there's no excusing it.
Yeah. So let's go over these stats real quick. And I got some interesting stats at the end here. So let's just jump into it. Lions, Jared Goff, 29 of 44 with 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 9 catches for 95 yards. David Montgomery, 15 carries for 71 yards and 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 carries, 4 receptions for a total of 73 yards. And I want to give a shout out to Khalif Raymond. He had 5 receptions for 90 yards. On the Packers side, we had Jordan Love, 22 of 32 for 268 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, and 3 carries for 39 yards. A.J. Dillon, 14 carries, 3 receptions for a total of 81 yards. And Christian Watson, 5 receptions for 94 yards and 1 touchdown. Here's what gets interesting. Total yards, 464 for the Lions and 377 for the Packers. And time of possession, 31 minutes and 56 seconds for the Lions and 28 minutes and 4 seconds for the Packers. I don't know if those are just some of those yards and time of possessions were just garbage time. If the Packers kind of let their foot off the gas with their lead they had going into the second half of the game or not. But even like rushing yards, you take away Jordan Love's 39 yards out of the 109 yards they had total of rushing yards. That's still under 100 yards for the running backs on this game.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, like, yeah, this game kind of sucked. One thing I want to point out is a lot of people are going to start throwing heat at Jared Goff right now. And you just watch this game, like, anyone can tell that this offensive line is it had just had a really, really rough day. Rashawn Gary outmaneuvered, manhandled Taylor Decker. Gary had like 3 sacks. They even benched was it Scoresdale and Storesdale and brought on the other backup guard. So yeah, I wouldn't blame it on Goff. He was percentage rate, when he gets under pressure, like you can tell he's getting nervous when he gets under pressure. So he'll make the wild throws or just take the sack or interceptions or whatever. But he was pressured 40 pressure rating of 42% this game. So the Green Bay Packers, they did a lot of blitzing or sending 5-6 guys up the middle to get after Goff. It seemed like they knew, like, hey, let's pressure Goff. He gets off on his game, and yeah. So I don't think anyone needs to blame Goff for this loss. Like the offensive line just.
Yeah, the offensive line played like they had their Thanksgiving dinner before this game started because they were sluggish. I haven't seen them play this bad in a while. Maybe that Baltimore Ravens game, but even then it was more just the offense couldn't get off the field, not that they were getting beat. Goff was getting sacked, but yeah, it was very uncharacteristic of them being one of the top offensive lines in the league. Green Bay just figured out how to scheme and get the right pressure where they needed to, and that was the big story there. Otherwise, I wasn't overly impressed with anything Green Bay did other than the pressure. Rashawn Gary played out of his mind. Uh, I think that the Lions just missed so many opportunities. So like Goff had safety valves. He had running backs, for screens. He had wide receivers who were open that he missed. I get it. You get pressure. It doesn't help. But like he had some chances. Receivers missed some catchable balls too. There were a couple of drops in there that I was like, really? Wow, you got your hand on it. And maybe Goff let one sail a little bit. But you can't put this particular game on him. But he has looked a little off. He still's got that mentality. You could kind of tell that, he's kind of shaking it off, going to the sideline, focuses on what he's got to do, and he comes back out. So I can't put too much on him. Yeah, like you pointed out, that offensive line was the shakiest, worst part. Between that and coaching, those are the two bugaboos this week. And still, the referee's not calling a lot of stuff. It's bugging the crap out of me. And I hate calling, like, I'm not blaming or using the refs as an excuse for why we lost. But it's evident again that the referees are not, I'm not going to say calling the game fairly because that sounds like a complaining fan thing to do. But you're watching the game, you're like, how is that not holding? How was that on Detroit? Like there was that one penalty where they called holding on a Lions player when he was being tackled by a Green Bay guy. Like it made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, even Hutchinson now, a couple of reporters, even on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, they showed a couple plays to where the offense is now scheming plays for Hutchinson. Like they had a play shown where they had a tight end line up against Hutchinson. He chip blocked him, and then you saw the center run over and block Hutchinson. So Dan Campbell in his presser after the game said he's not worried about the defense. Like the other guys are not doing anything to help Hutchinson. Like you got to do something because you want to get in the playoffs and make a run for it. And you play like this, you're going to be out, and it's going to probably be a blowout, and you're going to look dumb sitting on the sideline after the other team blows you out of the water.
Right.
Like there's no pressure on or no sacks on Jordan Love during this game. So something's got to give.
Yeah, something's got to. You think they'd start correcting some of these issues? I mean, it's the same stuff we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, and it's still an issue. Letting the other team get off to fast starts is not helping either. Like if they stop them on those first couple of drives, I think it's a whole different game. The Lions, that's where you control the game, and we're able to move the ball down the field too. And the defense has got to play a little bit better. I think better than last week, but you can't open a game like that. That is just inexcusable. I get it. You had 3 days of prep, but still, you let New Orleans come out, and we'll talk about New Orleans later. You let New Orleans come out like that, it's done. Like I can't take it 3 weeks in a row letting a team just march down opening drive and score on you.
Yeah. I wonder if they do win the coin toss from now on, if they just take the ball, because it seems like if they get ahead, they kind of dictate how the game flow goes. But if the opposite team scores right away, they kind of seem to get into like a panic mode, and that's when screw ups start happening. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I wonder if that's something they might talk about.
We'll see.
Let's go. I don't know. After the first half, I don't know. To me, it seems like they kind of settled down, started moving the ball more methodically. They actually had a touchdown and 2-point conversion in the third half. So
the third half.
I don't know if that
three
slump's over with or not.
3 halves. When did football have 3 halves?
Third quarter. I mean.
Okay.
But yeah, and then also like after the Packers scored 20 points in the first quarter, like they held them to 9 points the rest of the game. So
Right.
those couple stupid fourth down mistakes, we could be talking like a different outcome here. So
Yeah.
and I think Dan Campbell kind of realizes, hey, maybe we need to stop doing these crazy fourth down plays they're doing and either kick the ball away or kick the field goal. So
I doubt it. I think there's just something in him that just says he believes in this team so much that he thinks we're going to get it. And I think it's more they have to focus on if you're going to go for these fourth downs, you got to pick a for sure play. You have to get something that uh, because I think the couple of them it just got blown up. Like the defense, like Rashawn Gary, the defensive line just blew up the offensive line and it ruined everything from the jump. Uh, it was Goff throwing a pass to a guy who dropped it, or it was just a little off because they got pressure. So it's got to start with that offensive line. If they're off, it's done. There's no helping this team if that offensive line doesn't play good. But with the fourth downs, you would like to see him in situations more go, let's get points. We've been holding them fine. Let's just take the 3 and see what happens, or punt it. Get some field position. I know time was a problem at one point, but before time became a problem, they had opportunities to kind of manage the game differently. And instead, it was giving Green Bay the ball back in very good field position or almost near midfield, like taking a lot of the work out of it for the Packers offense. So I don't know. It's also a danged if you do, danged if you don't kind of thing.
Yeah. And I wrote down here, like, as a question, do you think any coaches maybe are on the hot seat for right now, or is it this game it was just bad all around, so there's not telling like who would be on that hot seat yet?
In Detroit, hard to say. I think like Aaron Glenn was on my hot seat last week, but I think this week, after the first quarter, I was fuming about the defense. But they settled in, and the defense didn't allow that third touchdown. That was the offense who couldn't hold on to the ball, and it was just a bad freak play because people stood around like thinking it was an incomplete pass, and Green Bay did what they were supposed to do and finished the play. Because if it stood, you got a touchdown. Detroit's got to play a little more heads up. Like you see a ball on the ground, cover it up. Like the Lions played with a little bit of lack of urgency. It felt like even like at that early point in the game when they still marched on and scored, but it just seemed like they just didn't want it. It was so weird that it felt like they didn't want this game. But I don't know. Aaron Glenn's still kind of on my hot seat a little bit. Like I think a little of the heat's taken off of him because the defense did play so well quarters 2 through 4. But they still got to do some adjusting. They are playing guys too soft. They were letting some big plays out there.
Oh yeah.
They got to figure out this pass rush. That's my biggest problem right now. They got to figure out this pass rush. Hutchinson can't be the only one you see getting back there. But then they have the quarterback gets all this open space because Hutchinson's getting pushed off to the side doing his swim move. So there's like always this big open gap by him. And that's usually where the quarterback eventually runs through because I won't say it's over pursuing, but he gets back in the backfield so much that the quarterback usually just, there's the hole I got to go through. But there's no linebacker there to kind of seal up where Hutchinson was just at. Like it feels like they got to do that a little more, like adjust and have a linebacker filling whatever hole they're trying to create with Hutchinson. Because Hutchinson's not getting to the quarterback. He's just not. We need an Anzalone like right there in that space to either jump that gap and get to the quarterback and actually make a tackle because they get a hand on him and then he's free. They never finish it, and it bugs me that they can't finish it when they get a hand on him. So
yeah,
I think that's where things got to start.
There's a few plays where they brought that box in on Jordan Love and somehow he escaped or just threw the ball away. So they were close, but
we say that every game. Finish. Every game we say that. I mean, sure, every once in what was it, the Raiders game? We had 4 or 5 sacks or whatever it was. But you play decent offensive lines, you ain't going to get it. So they need to scheme something to let Hutchinson just either be the distraction and get another more agile guy in there. Because no offense to Bugs or what is it, Bohanna, the new guy they got in the middle there.
Bohanna or whatever.
Bohanna, and then whenever Houston gets back, it'd be great to get him back. but they just don't seem to have the same kind of speed you kind of want, like the mix of speed and strength. Like they have a lot of strength and the one speed guy in Hutchinson, and they just don't have the right balance, I think, on that defensive line that they kind of want to have, but they need to go out and get somebody. Who was it that just got cut by the Colts?
Shaq Leonard. Like if I were the Lions, I'd be jumping through hoops right now to get him.
You hear, especially hearing the Eagles. Eagles are looking at him, and a couple other teams that are potential playoff teams. Detroit's got to go get somebody. I'm tired of this. Like, whoa, they're not a scheme fit. Look, a good, smart football player is always a good scheme fit. Like, take a chance. I'd rather see them try to take a chance, and maybe it doesn't work, as opposed to not doing anything and dealing with the same crap we're dealing with. Like, at least show me that you're looking into and trying something. But they're so steadfast in their ways. That's why, like, Campbell will always defend Aaron Glenn because he's like, we got our plan, we got our methods, and we're going to stick to it. And at a point, it becomes infuriating. Like, I get wanting to back your dude, but at a point, you got to at least question. And maybe they are behind, closed doors. But publicly, they're at least not, which is probably the good thing if we want to be honest about it. Because why would you want your coach out there openly questioning another coach on your staff or a player like Goff not throwing the offensive line under the bus? I think he would have been justified to do so, but you just don't do that out in the media. And that's where the Lions and this Lions team is different. I think they're doing a lot of the right things. It's just infuriating for us watching it because we're like, we want to hear them say that, but we know we got to know they're not gonna now. It's not what this team is.
Yeah, the only thing I could say about coaches, I don't know, because like you said, there's a lot of soft coverage in the game. Even like the safeties, like they just seem out of sync with everything. So I don't know if Dre Bly might be on the hot seat for their defensive back coaches. But
it worked out cutting the last defensive back coach in the middle of the season.
Yeah, but I'd hate to see Dre Bly fired because I think he's a good coach, but
I don't even know if it's a coaching thing. It could just be straight from the coordinator's plan. It could just be that. Like, I guess that's technically coaching, but their scheme just, and I won't say it's like they're purposely not doing what we think they should because they know other teams expect that, or if they're like, let's play all the good stuff close to the vest till we get down the stretch. They're playing like they do in these close games. Like, if you look at the season in its totality, as a 4-quarter game, they're doing the same things the Lions are doing. We're in the third quarter of the season, are we not? And that has been their worst quarter all season long. So it's like the season's playing out like a Lions game where we're in that third quarter where they have been so bad all season, except for yesterday. They actually went down and got a touchdown, and that was a bit of a surprise. But I don't know. It's like they're waiting for like the last minute comeback, and I hope that's not what's about to happen with this season.
Yeah, we'll see. I think if they lose this Saints game, I think there's going to be some head turning in this coaching staff. Like, I think
even if they lose to the Saints, I don't. I don't see them doing it. Not this late in the season now. Not when you're 8-3. And that's the other thing I think we got to talk about is we're 8-3. We have 3 losses going into the 13th week of the season. How often have we been able to say that? We're all freaking out over all these losses that were probably going to happen at some point anyway. Like that Bears game should have been the loss we got yesterday, and the Packers game should have been the win that we got on Sunday. So it's almost like those 2 games were flip-flop. We lost the game that we should have won, and we won the game we should have lost. And that's the NFL. And I think a lot of fans just want to get a little too hot-headed and especially Lions fans right now, because we've never had an 8-3 season in a while. So they're just looking to complain about every little thing. And now the world's ending because we're 8-3. And I appreciate that Dan Campbell's at least got that approach right now of like, we're good. Stay the course. We'll see how they come out against New Orleans, though. That's going to be a big thing for me. If they can't come out against New Orleans after, 10 days off and get it right, then I'll be concerned. Because to me, you can't have that much time off and then still be looking like you are right now. They clearly have to address some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so before we get into this game, we got 6 games left here. We got Saints, Bears, both those away. Then we got Broncos at home, Vikings away, Cowboys away, and Vikings at home. Out of those 6 games, I see them possibly losing 3 more games here. So Saints, I have them hopefully winning because I know going into the Bears at facing the Bears at their place, like I think the Bears are going to pull that one out.
It's looking like it
Vikings at
now.
what?
I said
What's
it's
that?
looking like that now. Like I figured Chicago would be the
Yeah.
toughest, on the road in the cold. Chicago already kind of handed it to us last time, so yeah, that Bears game makes me nervous.
Yeah, and also playing the Vikings at their place, I think they're going to lose that one, and playing the Cowboys at their stadium, I think they're going to lose that one. So this Saints, they have to pull out the win here.
Yep, none of these games on the schedule left are a gimme. I thought the Lions were better than Dallas for a while. The last couple of weeks have kind of been changing that tune. That Dallas seems to maybe have a couple more things put together than Detroit in the short term. I think long term Detroit should be better off than Dallas, but right now Dallas, and I'm not just saying it because they whooped the Commanders yesterday on national television, but yeah, Dallas. That's not a. That's going to be a tough game. They embarrassed us last year, and I don't want to see it again.
So yeah, let's jump into this Week 13 preview against the Saints. It'll be Sunday, 1 p.m. on Fox. Saints are playing the Falcons on this Sunday at 1 p.m. Saints are currently 5-5 uh, against the Falcons, who are 4-6. So we'll see how that outcome goes. Biggest thing for me to watch out for is Kamara and your couple receivers, Olave and Shaheed, and also Hill, their quarterback like last year, who's now a tight end. He's got a couple trick plays up his sleeve they use, so we need to make sure if he's on the field, keep an eye on him. And also another big thing is Williams gonna have a breakout game? Are they gonna use him a lot against the Lions, who the Lions didn't re-sign this year? So I kind of interested on that. See how they're gonna use Williams. See if they can get him out there. See how he does there.
Yeah, we'll see. So far it feels like they haven't even used Williams a whole lot this year. Even when
No,
Kamara was hurt and then Williams got hurt a little bit. I don't know. I wish Williams the best. I got no ill will towards the dude. I hope he has a decent game, but not decent enough to where it's going to beat us. But and is Carr still hurt? Or is he playing for New Orleans?
I think he is cleared to play against the Falcons. So if he doesn't
Okay.
get hurt again, I expect him to play against us too. So
Yeah, so we'll see. This should be an interesting one. Dan Campbell playing against his old team that he was coaching with. Same with Aaron Glenn. So I don't know. I just hope with 10 days, the Lions, at least kind of watch the Saints game, come in with their heads on, tightened up, buttoned up, and ready to play because they clearly didn't seem like they were ready to play on Thursday. So
yeah, I think they're gonna come out there pissed off and ready to knock some heads. I know Derek Carr is kind of like a Jared Goff. When he gets under pressure, it kind of melts. So if they don't get a couple quarterback sacks in this game, uh, you're just gonna be left wondering like, what the heck is going on? So
yeah, we're in a scary stretch of the season right now. Like any of these games, New Orleans, Denver, whoever, it's not a gimme. I'm not gonna even right now say outright Detroit should win this game. It's gonna be a tough one.
yep. And then so yeah, hopefully they do win.
Yeah,
Got
hopefully,
anything
fingers
else?
crossed. Nope. I'm good if you are. I mean, what a stinker of a game that was against the Packers.
Yes, it was. But yeah, before we close it out, I just want to give a shout out to my mother-in-law for getting me one of those Detroit Lions boxes there.
Yeah,
So
I
that
got one
was
too.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right, we good?
Yep. Go ahead and close it out.
All right. We appreciate you guys checking us out. We're sorry that the Lions lost for the third time this season. Nothing we can do about it. Be sure to visit theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, and more. Be sure to check out our social medias, X, Twitter, or X/Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find all those links down in the description below. Send us an email at info@theworldoffootball.com. Hit us up on our YouTube channel. We always try to respond to all the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, all that junk. It helps the channel out. We're so close to 600 subscribers now. It's pretty exciting. So, yeah. Be sure to check out our flagship podcast, This Week in the World of Football, every Tuesday, hosted by myself and my father, Randy, where we talk about all things in the world of football. Last week, we talked about the Canadian Grey Cup. So we're going to talk about all the Thanksgiving games this weekend in the NFL, all the college games, the Michigan game for sure. So be sure to tune in Tuesdays, wherever your good podcast can be found. This week in the world of football. Back to you, Kyle.
All right. Yep. That's it for this week. Just remember, Lions just 8-3. Nothing to be too worried about. Hopefully they do win against the Saints and be 9-3. So yeah.
Clean up and move forward.
Yep. And yeah, again, thanks for watching, listening, all that stuff. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you next week for the week
13?
Week 13 victory against the Saints, hopefully. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Right. What are you gonna do with your 10 days off?
Work.
Sounds good. All right.
I gotta practice some tackling drills.
Are you gonna go try out for the team?
Yep.
Oh boy, God help us all. All right. Bye, everybody.
Yep. See you later.